When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Thanks for being here for this episode of Locked On MLB Game Night. My name is John Frisch. I'm one half of the Super Halo Bros and one half of Locked On Angels. With me is my co-host, Steve Lenox. You can find him on the X at Lenox on Baseball. You can find myself at Super Halo Bros as well. We got a full slate for you, 15 games to get to and a lot to talk about, including, are the Orioles okay? Are the O's okay? Because it doesn't seem like they're okay right now, Steve. So we're going to get into that conversation much, much more. But first, we want to thank our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Thank you to our friends at FanDuel for sponsoring today's show. Steve, we got to get to the main event, which was Dodgers and Cubs in Chicago. It was an 11-10 victory in extras for the Cubs. No lead was safe, right, Steve?
No, certainly not, John. Dodgers were up 3-0 at one point, 10-7 going to the bottom of the eighth inning. Cubs get a run in the ninth inning, one run in the 10th inning as Ian Happ plays the role of hero, RBI single in the right field. Kyle Tucker had a two-run home run in the game as well. That made it 10-9 late. And Miguel Amaya also with a two-out solo home run. That was in the ninth inning. Tied the game at 10-10 and came against Tanner Scott.
Yeah, and Dustin May surrendered his first home run of the season to Pete Crow Armstrong. Man, he was a triple shy of the cycle. Can you imagine if we had this game and a cycle from Pete Crow Armstrong? Actually, if he had gotten that triple, it probably wouldn't have gone into extras, right?
And there's bad news for Pete Crow Armstrong because the Dodgers and Cubs don't play again this year. He feasted on Dodgers pitching, both in LA recently and in this game as well.
Yeah. Now Ohtani, new dad, happy or shout out to Ohtani and his wife. Congratulations to them. Unfortunately, he didn't bring that new dad strength with him. 0 for 4 with a walk, 2 runs and 3 strikeouts in this one. So Ohtani not productive at the plate, but still, able to score. Tommy Edman, Addy Pages, and Will Smith with homers for the Dodgers. The Cubs have 156 runs scored. That's the best in the major leagues. The season series, remember they opened in Japan this year, that is tied 3-3 with one more to go on Wednesday. Well, let's hear from the winning side. We've got Sam from Locked On Cubs, who's going to give us the reaction in this incredible game where the two teams couldn't stop scoring. Let's go to Sam from Locked On Cubs right now.
Call your friends, call your family, call whoever, and make sure they're ready to go this summer at Wrigley Field because it might be a special, special season. Cubs come back from down 3 late again. This time they beat the Los Angeles Dodgers in walk-off fashion. I'm Sam Olber from Locked On Cubs. It was a back-and-forth game. Cubs made some tough errors, gave up some home run balls, but they kept fighting. They kept battling. Kyle Tucker, huge day. PCA, huge day. Ian Happ, huge day, and down to their final out off their potential target, Tanner Scott. Miguel Amaya ties the game with a dramatic home run in the basket to tie it at 10. Porter Hodge bounces back from his shaky outing on Friday, gets the job done, posts a 0 in the 10th inning, and then old reliable Ian Happ delivers a base hit through the right side, and the Cubs beat the Dodgers 11-10 and walk them off. This team, they take you on a roller coaster, but they are fighting and they are special. Hop along for the ride. It's going to be a heck of a summer.
Love the enthusiasm from Sam right there, Steve. What do you think of his reaction?
I have a request from Sam.
Yes.
Some point in time, doesn't have to be every time he does the post-game wrap for the Cubs, but at some point he's got to do one in Harry Carey glasses.
Hi, everybody.
Right? As he was talking there, I kind of heard it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm about 50% smaller than Harry Carey's glasses, but if they were bigger, that would totally work out. Hey, let's hear from Jeff of Locked On Dodgers. He's got things from the Dodgers' perspective.
Well, when you have a game between two teams that don't deserve to win, the rules of baseball say one of them has to win. Unfortunately for the Dodgers, they deserved a little bit less, and the scoreboard showed that. What's up? It's Jeff from Locked On Dodgers. Dodgers lose in extra innings 11-10. Shota Imanaga was bad, then Dustin May was worse, and then the Cubs bullpen was worse, and then the Dodgers bullpen was worse, and eventually add up all that bad, and the Dodgers were 1 run worse than the Cubs, and it was ugly. It was a Wrigley Field special, and I do not mean that in a good way. The friendly confines are only friendly if you are a sadistic masochist. I am not. I am looking forward to when the Dodgers don't have to play at Wrigley Field anymore this year, and, if ever, I'd be fine with that too. But Dodgers lose. We'll have plenty to say about Dustin May's performance and, unfortunately, the bullpen's performance on Locked On Dodgers. Catch it on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts every weekday morning.
Got the rubber match with the Cubs and the Dodgers happening on Thursday. Going to be an exciting one. Let's keep it in the NL as we saw the Mets win their 6th game in a row. The Phillies had some bad news. Christopher Sanchez was pulled in the 2nd inning with forearm strain. You never ever want to hear the words forearm strain when it comes to your starting pitcher. And unfortunately, that's the situation with the Phillies and Christopher Sanchez, Steve.
Yeah, he was terrific last time out and doesn't get past the 2nd inning. It's tough to see, and that can happen for any club. So, Nola kind of got smacked around in the opener. Now Sanchez has the issue as well. I don't want to say the Phillies are getting old quick, but their window is right now. And it's just interesting from both, the hitter side and the pitching side. And, it's always a question mark in their bullpen. But I really, from last year to this year, John, I've really enjoyed watching Sanchez pitch and have success. And maybe it's just a month or two. Maybe it's nothing serious. But as you said, forearm tightness, it's usually not good news.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully there is a quick recovery on the way for Christopher Sanchez. But, the Mets on the other side of things making this their 6th win in a row, 5-1 final score here. Mets up 2-0 in the series, 11-1 at home, Steve. They had a lot of great offense from the usual heavy hitters, didn't they?
Yeah, and Mark Vientos had missed a couple of games, comes back, RBI double, Lindor, 3 more hits, an RBI single. Alonso had an RBI base hit. And then they get the pitching again. Limiting the Phillies to 1 run, that's impressive. And really, remember, we did Monday's show, and until the 9th inning, Phillies were held in check offensively. They got the 3-run home run. Edwin Diaz was able to close it out. But Canning, 1 run over 5, and then the bullpen was terrific the rest of the way.
Yeah, the Mets have a way of making magic out of starting pitchers who struggled elsewhere. Griffin Canning, I know him very well from his time with the Angels. Yeah. They did the same thing with Sean Manaea when he came from the Padres to the Mets. So the Mets, if anybody has a pitching lab in this league, it's definitely going to be the New York Mets. Let's actually go to Connor Thomas from the Phillies side of things. He's got his reaction as his Phillies fell 5-1.
Things went from bad to worse tonight for the Philadelphia Phillies as they lose to the New York Mets. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. And not only do the Phillies seem to have major trouble with playing this New York Mets team, not only does the bullpen once again give up big hits when you need to get out of stuff. And honestly, I can't totally fault the bullpen because the bad to worse part of this is Christopher Sanchez leaves the game early after only throwing 2 innings. He leaves with left forearm soreness. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a strain and it's a skip a start. I don't know if that's precautionary and he's fine. I don't know if that's something serious and it's injured list time. But whatever the case may be, losing a starter with the bullpen in the shape that it's in right now is really bad news for the Philadelphia Phillies. They'll try and salvage a game in the series tomorrow, but the health of Christopher Sanchez infinitely more important than the loss tonight. We'll talk on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
Isn't that always how it goes, Steve? Like these mystery diagnoses that you hear from teams sometimes. Forearm soreness, forearm strain. What does it mean? Tell me what it means. Well, on the other side of things, we've got Ryan Finkelstein for the Mets on Locked On Mets. He's got the winning perspective right here.
Coming into this series against the Phillies, I gave 2 main keys for the Mets to come out victorious. The first one was for their starting pitching to survive the early innings. The second one to beat up on a bad Phillies bullpen. And we saw all of that come together on Tuesday night. as the Mets have now won 6 games in a row, and they took each of their first 2 games against the Phillies to win yet another series. This is Ryan Finkelstein, the host of Locked On Mets, and what we saw on Tuesday night was another surprising start by this Mets rotation that continues to impress. Griffin Canning, 5 strong innings, allowed 7 hits, but worked through some jams, ended up giving up only 1 earned run, and the Mets bullpen did the rest, 4 scoreless after Canning exited the game. The Mets lineup continued to tack on throughout the night, and they had a big 7th inning as Pete Alonso had an RBI double, and Luis Torrens got a base hit with the bases loaded as the Mets win by a score of 5-1.
Good stuff right there from Ryan, Steve. Let's take it over to the Astros all over the Blue Jays, 5-1. And the Blue Jays, where'd the offense go? We just talked about this last night, and it didn't show up today against the Astros either. Whoops, got you muted there, bud.
There we go. I did that.
There he is.
Self-imposed. There we go. You mentioned the Blue Jays offense. You run into Hunter Brown, you run into Ronel Blanco, and they'll certainly give you fits, and they'll put you in a funk, and that's what it is right now for the Blue Jays. I mean, just that it's the entire lineup. Bichette, Vladdy, Santander, Springer, and Kirk, top 5 hitters against Blanco and the Astros bullpen. 0 for 18, Vladdy 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, signs that deal, and all of a sudden, it's been a while since we've mentioned the torpedo bats, but they might want to burn what they have currently in stock and get a new shipment in.
I know they're in Houston right now, but can we send torpedo bats across the border with Canada? Are we allowed to do that in this climate right now? I don't. Let's not go there. Let's actually go to Brett Chansey, H-Town from Locked On Astros. He's got the winning perspective for us.
Christian Walker and Ronel Blanco both had their best games in the 2025 season. I'm H-Town Wheelhouse here with Locked On Astros, and the Astros do it again. They win another series. They beat the Blue Jays 5-1. Chris Bassett on the mound, who had a minuscule ERA. His ERA is now over 1, almost 2, and doing most of the damage was Jeremy Pena and Christian Walker. Christian Walker was 3 for 3 tonight. And you know what? Yordan Alvarez got an RBI single. That's right. Yordan Alvarez with another 1 for 4 game, but doing just enough. Ronel Blanco, though, the story of the game pitching-wise, 12 swings and misses. He looked excellent against a potent lineup there in Toronto. The Astros come back tomorrow, hoping to get their first sweep of the 2025 season. Look it up. When the Astros score 4 or more runs, they only have 1 loss in those games.
I love stats like that. When they have 4 or more runs, just 1 loss. Good stuff from H-Town right there. Steve, take us over to the Brewers all over the Giants tonight.
Yeah, really nice comeback in terms of losing the opener and coming back and winning game 2 of that 4-game series in San Francisco. 11-3 the final. Brewers 8-run 6th inning. Highlighted Christian Yelich a grand slam later in the inning. Jake Bauers had a 2-run home run. Bryce Terang, how about the on-base percentage? On base 5 times, 4 for 4, 4 singles, a walk, and a run scored. Jordan Hicks, not a great line, 5 innings and 6 runs, 5 earned. In his outing, his ERA now over 6.5. And hey, again, Giants win the opener 5-2. Brewers come back, even up the series. 2 more to go in San Fran.
All right, they're get the 2 more games happening this week, and it's going to be a battle. We'll see, which side takes it as we continue this series. Hey, thanks for making Locked On MLB Game Night your night watch here. Shout out to our night shift, our night crew tuning in with us. When we come back, we'll be talking about what's going on with the O's. They're really struggling, and we'll get into that conversation coming right up.
And MLB Game Night presented by FanDuel. NBA playoffs are here. FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel, place your first $5 bet. You'll get $250 in bonus bets if you win on that $5 bet. FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking your favorite team or to win or diving into player props. From 3-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine your live prop bets into the same game parlay for a chance to win big. Again, don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com Again, that's FanDuel.com. Claim your $250 in bonus bets today.
This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and it's everybody's team on MLB Game Night, because we cover all the games that happen. There was a lot of action around the league, including the Yankees versus the Guardians. Steve, Aaron Judge had a 4-for-4 day. Ben Rice homered, and the Yankees still lost? What in the world happened there?
First pitch of the game, Ben Rice, ambush, home run. Second career home run to lead off a game. The other one against the Red Sox. And, hey, a 6th home run of the season, but Cleveland right now, 5 over 500, John. They've won 5 in a row for the second time this year. They get timely hitting. They get pitching from Bybee, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. And then Cade Smith, just 4 pitches needed to record a scoreless 9th inning, picks up the save, his second in 2 games. And, hey, the Guardians have a chance to sweep this series against New York and sort of continue to send a message that, the AL Central, we know, just like last year, is going to be wide open. But, get the offense and get the pitching somehow, some way. I'm still shocked from yesterday's news that they DFA'd Tristan McKenzie. I'm still on that one for some reason.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, he had so much potential, but when I watch him pitch, it looks like he had the yips out there, and they've been using him in kind of in a mop-up role. So we'll see where Tristan McKenzie lands. But the Guardians are now 14-9 after kind of getting off to an early skid to start the year, but they're 7-1 at home this year. For more, we're going to go to Justin, who covers the Guardians for Locked On Guardians. Let's go to Justin right now.
Another shaky first inning for Guardians starting pitching. The second night in a row against the New York Yankees, but they prevail once again. I'm Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians. Tanner Bybee's first pitch of the game, a home run off the bat of Ben Rice of the Yankees. He settles down, recovers, gets the Guardians through 6 innings, gives them a chance to win the game, the offense to come around. They were being shut out before he was pulled out of the game. Stephen Vogt showed some confidence in him, let him push 6 innings. The bullpen remains a little bit light in terms of workload right now. They need to preserve some guys' arms, been used very heavily. So they pushed Tanner. He was able to give them exactly what they needed. And the offense rewarded, and they came around. On Monday night against the Yankees, the Guardians had 2 home runs that really powered them. In this game, it was Guard's ball. They scored on a wild pitch. They forced some defensive errors by the Yankees. Kyle Manzardo had a big hit. The Guardians doing enough to beat you in multiple ways, having good at-bats, hitting the ball in play again like they did last year, like they did in 2022. It's nice when this offense can beat you in multiple ways. They don't have to just hit home runs, but they can hit home runs this year. And that's 2 nights in a row the starting pitching gave you a really good effort. Really positive to see for the Guardians. They beat the Yankees. They go for the sweep on Wednesday. Listen to Locked On Guardians for more.
Good stuff there from Justin, and he's excited because, you got to stay ahead of those Tigers. Now, on the other side of things, we've got Mr. Jay Berman with a response from the Yankees, who fell to the Guardians today.
Yanks lose again to the Guardians in Cleveland. 2 straight for Cleveland. Final score tonight, 3-2. Will Warren with the first 5. He did not allow a run through those first 5 innings. However, the third time through the order, which represented the 6th inning, proved to be costly. 3 runs for Cleveland in the bottom of the 6th, and that proved to be the difference. As we said, 3-2 the final score. Ben Rice hit the very first pitch of the game over the wall, his 6th home run of the season. Aaron Judge now hitting .411, had 4 more hits, but that was it for the Yankee offense. Again, 3-2 the final score. Mark Leiter Jr. takes the loss in relief of Will Warren. Warren 5+, 2 earned. As we said, Yanks will try to avoid the sweep. Wednesday afternoon, Carlos Rodon gets the call for the Bombers. 1:10 first pitch. Again, 3-2 final score.
In a day like today where the Guardians are able to take that win, it also benefits them that the Padres shut out the Tigers. It was a 2-0 victory for the Padres, wasn't it, Steve?
Another shutout for San Diego. We've heard that before, 7 times, in fact, this year. How about Nick Pivetta? I watched him a lot last year with the Red Sox, and I thought, there was a lot of talk in the offseason. They'll bring him back, but his price tag went way too high for the Red Sox, and he's just dealing right now.
Yeah.
Pivetta, 4-1, 1.20 ERA, 1.20 ERA, 7 scoreless, 6 strikeouts, walked a couple. But I just love the fact that Nick Pivetta exits one team. He's just a professional pitcher. And I still think he's got a lot left in the tank as well.
Absolutely. It was a tough luck loss on the Tiger side for Jack Flaherty, who just gave up the 2-run home run across 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, even had 9 strikeouts. Padres pitching shut it down. They have the best record in baseball. The Mets also have the best record in baseball. The Tigers were quiet. An 0-for-4 day from Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, and Kerry Carpenter. For more, we're going to go to Scott from Locked On Tigers, who's got the perspective from the Tiger side of things.
Well, Nick Pivetta shoves against the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers shut out 2-0 in a loss to the San Diego Padres. I'm Scott Bentley, host of Locked On Tigers. And yeah, that was really the story of this game. The offense was just never able to get going. Nick Pivetta looked fantastic. He's had a fantastic year. Really good. That curveball was working wonderfully. They talked a lot on the FanDuel Sports Network broadcast about his reverse splits and the fact that he is a righty that neutralizes lefties very well. And with the way that AJ Hinch makes and constructs lineups, he's going to play those platoon matchups as often as possible. And Nick Pivetta was able to put that to rest. 7 innings of shutout ball, like I said. The bright side for the Tigers is that the pitching is still unbelievable. Literally one bad pitch in this game by Jack Flaherty was all of the runs for both teams. Some fresh new faces in the bullpen. Chase Lee, Bailey Horn, both of them shined. Jack Flaherty was fantastic. 9 strikeouts just through one hanging slider. Yeah, we're back at it tomorrow. Hopefully can still take a series against the Padres. We'll talk about that and more on Locked On Tigers.
That's a good perspective from Scott right there. He seems hopeful, seems like reasonable take that, hey, sometimes you just got to tip your cap to the other starting pitcher. Hey, let's go Reds Marlins, 4-3 Marlins. I said it on the show yesterday, Steve, that when you're in a position like the Marlins and 3 in a row is the next level of achievement. Well, they did that today, so that's something to celebrate for the Marlins in a nice come from behind victory for Miami, right?
And what I like about this team right now is they're winning at home. They're a game over 500 at home. Desperate to see some sort of fan base and play in front of fans. And you can win at home. That's sort of a foundation block, right?
Yeah.
To a certain degree. Ramirez, 3 more hits, 5 hits in his first 2 big league games. He's making it look easy in the first 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to Jeremiah, who I love when Jeremiah gets a win for his team because he's always so enthusiastic. Let's go to Jeremiah for the Marlins.
Augustin Ramirez. What more can he do? The dude is incredible. What's up, guys? It's Jeremiah Geiger from the Locked On Marlins podcast. 3 for 3, 2 doubles. His second double, 111 miles per hour off the bat. Both doubles were over 100 miles per hour. He's incredible. The guy can flat out hit. The Marlins come back in this one. The bullpen was nails. After the Reds were up 3-1, the offense was a little sluggish. They take the lead. They plate a run in the 6th. They take the lead in the 7th to go up 4-3. And then the bullpen, Lake Bacher, Anthony Bender, Calvin Fauché, just locked it down for the Marlins. They've won 3 in a row. They've taken the series against the Cincinnati Reds, and now they go for the sweep tomorrow.
I think you're on mute now, John.
I am on mute. Thank you. Now we got Jeff Carr over on the Locked On Red side of things. He's going to save me from muting myself. Here we go.
Dadgummit. Same crap. Different day. Same crap. This Reds team, man. There's a trend for me that I don't love. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And it's not the fact that mistakes happen. Right? Like a lot of mistakes seem to happen to the Cincinnati Reds. But the biggest question to me is who's going to stop them? Who's going to stand up and stop the mistakes, or if not stop them, help the team recover? Because in a 162 game season, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to lose games. But who is there to fix it? Right now, that spot's empty for the Reds. They just lost a series to Miami. The biggest reason they lost that series, the first game, they just got dominated by a pitcher. The second game, bonehead mistakes. Who steps up? Who helps them out? They've got to find somebody, because this is going to be a long season if they don't.
It was that Graham Ashcraft lobbing the ball over to first that really allowed the Marlins to take that winning run. So Jeff, very upset, totally understanding where he's coming from. Hey, let's take it over to Rangers and Athletics, an AL West matchup. They were hitting home runs all over the Sacramento field, weren't they, Steve?
8 home runs total, 4 apiece. Rangers prevail 8-5 as they got home runs from Wyatt Langford, Smith, Marcus Semien. He might be getting going. 3-run shot from Semien in the 5th inning. Then Jake Berger had a home run as well. Urias and Rooker home runs in the 8th inning for the Athletics. And Osvaldo Bido gave up all 4 in the start for the A's. Can I give you a number? Jock Peterson, 33 on Monday. I was listening to Chris Carey and Dallas Braden. Peterson went 0 for 3. They lifted him for a pinch hitter in the 7th inning. And Dallas Braden said it. He's like, that's an 0 for 41.
Oof.
You got to be – I'm like, no way in the world. So I went to his baseball reference page. I went to the Texas Rangers notes, and 0 for 41. And he's opened up the season. Jock Peterson, now 33 as of Monday. 3 for 58, 1 extra base hit, that a double. No runs batted in. And the Rangers entered Tuesday just 67 runs scored total on the season, almost dead last with the Kansas City Royals. So, that's a bat that they need. They need a lot of these bats to get going.
Yeah, they didn't sign Jock Peterson for him to go 0 for 41 to start this season.
That's a huge number.
Yeah, over the last 40. Man, good grief. Well, we're going to continue our conversation. We're going to rapid fire around the league. This is Locked On MLB Game Night. Steve, we're going to rapid fire these last ones. Twins over the White Sox, 4-2. For more, we've got a reaction from Brandon of Locked On Twins. Let's get his perspective on this.
It's just one game, but maybe it's the beginning of something after Byron Buxton has an amazing laying out catch to save the day in the Twins' 4-2 win over the White Sox. This is Brandon Warren with your Locked On Twins post-game minute. Bailey Ober danced out of danger all night long and kept the Twins basically where they needed to be until a Trevor Larnach home run late. A 2-run bomb ended up providing the difference. It was a nice bounce-back outing from Griffin Jacks. Joan Duran, a little bit touchy in the 9th, but gets it done on Byron Buxton diving to rob Andrew Benintendi's deep smash to right center field that would have most certainly tied the game and given the White Sox a chance to lead. It's a start. It's not necessarily a streak or anything like that, but it's definitely a start. We'll have full coverage for you on Wednesday, Locked On Twins.
Game is always better when Byron Buxton is on the field because he's just a fun player to watch, Steve.
Yeah, certainly. That series now even 1-1. Braves winning streak comes to an end. Scott Blewett just purchased from the Orioles. And, how do the Orioles give up on a pitcher? But Blewett, first career start. He's been a reliever at the big league level. 3 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 home run allowed. Atlanta using 5 relievers and just 2 for 12 in scoring position.
Scott Blewett? You can't. No, come on. You can't.
And they had Bummer right behind him today. So it was all over social media, Blewett and Bummer.
Oh, good grief. And let's go to JD from Locked On Cardinals with his perspective on their win over the Braves.
The St. Louis Cardinals finally break through in a close game and bury the Braves to win their 5-game losing streak. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and it's no secret that the Cardinals have struggled on the road and in close games. 1-10 on the road coming into Tuesday's game, and after taking the lead early on in the game, there they were again, 8th inning, tied ball game, 3-3. Nolan Gorman coming up with the bases juice. And normally when Gorman does something, we're all yelling in anger or frustration, but this time it was different. It was a yelp of joy as he rips a piss missile down the line and right, clears the bases, makes it 7-4. The dugout went nuts. I went nuts. I scared the hell out of my dog. It was beautiful. I'm so happy for Gorman to see him coming through in a big spot. They tack on 3 more in the 9th inning and win it 10-4. Victor Scott II and Nootbaar had big nights. Mason Wynn contributed an RBI in his first game back from the IL. Happy vibes heading into the rubber match on Wednesday. My ugly loud shirt is on standby. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
Love that from JD right there. If you don't mind, I'd love to talk about Angels Pirates. And man, the Pirates embarrassed the Angels in Anaheim. Jose Soriano clearly didn't have it in his start. Usually a very dominant pitcher can get the K, can get the ground outs, but he couldn't locate anything off speed. And those are his bread and butter pitches, Steve. He was left out there a little too long, hung out to dry. Andrew McCutchen comes through with a 3-run home run in the fourth. I can't be mad about that. As a baseball fan, I love Andrew McCutchen. I love that he's back with the Pirates. The Angels did battle back to make it 5-3, but the Pirates add on another run in the sixth. They were all over Angels pitching. 18 hits by the Pirates. Every Pirates starter had a hit. IKF had a ground rule double that scored a run in the ninth. Brian Reynolds added on behind him, so they ran away with it in the ninth inning. The Pirates entered this game hitting a collective 206. And after they walloped the Angels and every starter got a hit, they are now batting 218. So this is as Mike Scioscia would say back in his Angels managing days, time to turn the page on this one between the Angels and the Pirates.
There you go, John. Diamondbacks 5-1 victory in the opener at home in Phoenix against the Rays. Pavin Smith double home run, his 2-out-2-run home run in the third put Arizona up 2-1. Tawa, number 3 on the season, solo shot in the fifth inning. Brandon Pfaadt, 4th win on the season, 1 earned run allowed over 6th, and Thompson, Peaks, and Murillo each working a scoreless inning. And the Rays have difficulty keeping the ball in the yard. They give up 2 more home runs, and the loss to the Diamondbacks on Tuesday, they've allowed a major league worst 36 home runs on the season.
It doesn't help being in that George Steinbrenner field where the ball flies around the yard. Let's go to Rockies Royals. The Royals get their run in the ninth, won in the 11th to walk it off with a 4-3 win in the opener. Freddie Fermin has the RBI single in the 10th. The Rockies scored 3 in the top of the ninth to go up 3-2. And isn't that just the story of the year for the Rockies? They're battling in it and they're hanging in it. They even hung in it against the Dodgers last week, but unfortunately couldn't see this one through. For the winning side of things, let's go to Jack of Locked On Royals.
The Royals narrowly avoided disaster at Kauffman Stadium tonight, facing, at least record-wise, the worst team in baseball in the Colorado Rockies. Chris Bubich was phenomenal. Drew Waters had maybe his best game as a Royal, but it was Carlos Estevez in the ninth, getting the first 2 outs and then loading the bases on walks before giving up a bases-clearing double to Jacob Stallings to give the Rockies the lead. But if there is a takeaway I would have from this one, is really about the momentum it could bring. Look, it's not a pretty game. Anytime you're grinding it out with the worst team in baseball, you're not going to feel too proud of it. But it certainly beats losing that game, and I can only imagine how bad the reactions would have been to losing game 1 in that type of fashion to a team you shouldn't be losing games to like that. So we'll see what version of Kansas City we get tomorrow. The offense still not there, but the pitching absolutely is. So Michael Lorenzen takes the bump tomorrow as the Royals will try to go for a series win.
You never want to be labeled as the team you should be winning games against, and that's the Rockies right now, unfortunately. Steve, take us over to Mariners versus Red Sox. The Red Sox poured it on late in the game.
Brian Bayo, first start of the season, gave up a home run to Jorge Polanco, 2 batters in. Then he issued a walk and then hit 2 straight batters to have the bases loaded in that first inning. He was teetering, but he was part of a 3-6-3 double play to get out of it. Justin Wilson giving up a couple of runs to make it a 1-run game in the 6th inning. Then the Red Sox a 4-run 7th inning, John, highlighted by Tristan Casas hitting a 3-run home run to dead center field. Garrett Whitlock, 2 scoreless innings. He's now got 7 scoreless innings on the season, including 5 in a row. And then another positive for the Red Sox, Liam Hendricks, 1-2-3 9th inning, making his second appearance since being activated by Boston.
You got to love Liam Hendricks, just a good dude that everybody in baseball loves. Let's take it to our final game, and I mentioned it up top. Orioles and Nationals, 7-0 Nationals. Mitchell Parker was outstanding for the Nationals, and the Orioles offense was really bad. In fact, their pitching was really bad in this one. Parker goes 8 scoreless, just gives up 1 hit, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Cedric Mullins had the only Orioles hit. He had 2 walks in this one. The Orioles had base runners, and they had them in scoring position, but they were 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. The Nationals, of course, poured on the offense on Dean Kramer starting for the Orioles. Nathaniel Lowe got it started with a 2-run homer in the first. Kybert Ruiz doubled twice in this one, 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Dylan Cruz homered off Dean Kramer in the 6th. Orioles, no pitching, no offense. They're supposed to be competitive, Steve. What's going on out there in the AL East for the Orioles?
A lot of fans want to know that right now. anytime we have this conversation right now about the Orioles, John, I think Corbin Burns. They were never really in on Corbin Burns in the offseason.
Right.
And to me, that really set a tone for them.
Yeah.
Does it set the tone for the entire season? I'm not sure. Mike Elias last week talking to the media, addressing the media, but there are people calling right now for moves made by Baltimore, and I'm not sure that they're going to be made.
Yeah, when the rotation they rolled in with, you're losing a lot in Corbin Burns. Now, I know that he's not gotten off to the best start with the Diamondbacks. However, it sends a message. And when you kind of go for, the B+ guys, maybe the C guys to fill out your rotation, it really sends a message to not just your team, but the fan base as well. Hey, thanks for being here with us tonight on Locked On MLB Game Night. Don't forget to follow Steve at Lenox on Baseball on Twitter. You can find myself at Super Halo Bros on Twitter. And of course, catch me on Locked On Angels. I'm one half of the host there with my brother Mike. We'd love to see you there if you're an Angels fan or a baseball fan. We love all baseball around here, but we thank you for being here tonight. Thanks for staying up late with us, and we'll do it again tomorrow with another slate of games that we're really excited about. So we'll see you back here on Wednesday.